As Adore strutted into the wedding reception in her jaw-dropping, skin-tight saline dress, all eyes were on her, especially one man's. He was tall, confident, and oozing charm. Their eyes locked from across the room, and within minutes, he was by her side, his hand resting lightly on her waist. "You look like a goddess," he murmured, his breath warm against her ear. Adore, feeling bold and irresistible, leaned into his touch, her body responding to his every move. The chemistry between them was electric, and soon they slipped away from the crowd, finding a quiet, dimly lit corner. His hands explored the intricate lace of her dress, and Adore's heart raced as the tension between them escalated. But just as things were heating up, the tightness of her dress and the mountain of food she'd eaten earlier began to take their toll. A sharp, cramping pain shot through her stomach, and she tried to ignore it, focusing on the moment. But her body had other plans. As the man leaned in to kiss her, Adore's stomach lurched violently. She barely had time to turn away before she vomited all over the floor, and his expensive shoes. The look of shock and disgust on his face was matched only by her own humiliation as the sound drew the attention of nearby guests. The night that had started with so much promise ended in disaster, leaving Adore to face the consequences of her indulgences. A girl named Adore lived in a small city. She was well known throughout the world not only for her flawless skin and radiant smile, but also for her obsession with fashion. She wasn't just a fashion fan, she was his loyal servant, and she would constantly scroll through her phone, dreaming of how she would look in each trendy outfit. The moment she saw a dress that caught her eye, she couldn't stop until it was hers, and she would spend her last naira on clothing without pausing. Though she was eagerly awaiting the delivery of her latest treasure, fashion wasn't her only obsession. She loved food just as much, if not more, than fashion. It was almost as if her heart was in the rhythm of her showing. If a vendor posted a new dress on Instagram at 11 p.m., she would be the first to comment on how much it would be appreciated. Adore's mouth is always busy nibbling on something, whether it's fried delicious, chocolate peanuts, or biscuits. She always has a snack in her hand if she didn't. Her friends joke, "Are you feeling okay? Where's the food?" And "I do mind." She would laugh and reach into her bag and pull out a pack of cookies. I can't disappoint you people," she would say with a smile. She had a special love for suya and chawama, and every night, no matter how full she was, she would order suya or sha to finish her day, remain that way. Some were envious of her, while others couldn't stop chatting about how she manages to consume so much junk food and still stay this way. Even though her mother, Obi, loved Adore very much, she was always concerned about her health. "You can't keep eating like this. Do you know how much sugar you take in a day? Do you know what it's doing to your body?" She would say, "Mama, forget that thing." Adore would laugh mischievously and respond, "Look at me now. Nothing is going to happen to me. I look flawless, don't I? Mama, life is too short to not savor delicious meals." Obama would sigh and shake her head. She occasionally tried extreme measures, such as locking the pantry or refusing to cook Adore favorite meals, but Adore always managed to get around them with her own money. She would buy fried rice, grilled chicken, ice cream, and anything else she wanted. Her love of food and fashion dates back to her early years. Adore was the only child of her parents, OB and CH, who had waited for years to have a shout-out while crying. When Adore was finally born, after much prayer and visits to every pastor, harist, and doctor they could find, she became their entire world. They gave her ice cream, biscuits, shoes, dresses, and anything else she wanted. If she put out her little hands and said, "Mama, I want this," Obama would buy it without hesitation, even when neighbors warned them that the child was turning into a SPO. "You can't give her everything she wants because they'll reject it. She's still a baby, so we'll teach her discipline with a white green." Let her enjoy it for the time being, but later never came. And as she grew older, her need for anything she wanted became stronger. She liked the attention and praise she received from everyone, especially when she was wearing the newest styles or was spotted munching on her favorite snacks. Adore loved the attention and admiration she received everywhere she went when she arrived at church one Sunday morning in a bright pink dress, matching shoes, and earrings. She then made her way to her seat with grace. The speaker delivered his speech while the choir sang. A woman wearing the most beautiful dress Adore had ever seen caught her attention. It was a set-style gown, expertly tailored to accentuate every curve of the woman's figure. The intricate design featured lace patterns on the body and a flowing skirt that shimmered in the light. Adore couldn't take her eyes off the dress, and her heart soared as she considered how amazing she would look in that exact outfit by the end of the service. Needed that dress. As soon as the prior said, "Go in peace," Otter bounded out of her chair and went up to the woman. "Excuse me, you look beautiful," she said in a sweet, eager voice. The woman turned to face her and smiled warmly. "Oh, thank you. I love your dress. Where did you get it? I've never seen anything like it." The woman giggled quietly and said, "My tea made it for me. It's called the CET dress. Wow, it's gorgeous. Do you go?" She hesitated for a moment before answering. "It cost 250,000 naira." The woman smiled. "Well, quality comes at a price, but trust me, it's worth every kobo." With her eyes widening in shock, Ador said, "I can't even find the words to describe how expensive it was." When Ador arrived home, she couldn't stop thinking about the dress she was sitting in. She gave him her tour's contact number, which she said, "Here in case you are interested." Otter eagerly accepted the number, immediately seeing herself in the dress. "Thank you so much," she said, smiling with joy. Adura started her mission by tightening her spending habits, with the exception of food, and saving money for her dream dress. It was outrageous, more than she had ever spent on a single piece of clothing, but the idea of wearing that CET dress gave her the willpower to do so. She paced at her room, biting her nails, and tried to figure out how she could afford it. Maybe if I save little by little, she thought I can get it in a few months. As lovely as she was, Otter had a lot of admirers, and men would frequently shower her with praise, presents, and cash in an attempt to capture her heart. However, Otter wasn't interested in relationships or love. Instead, she was only interested in their money, which she used to purchase a fictitious outfit. It was a beautiful, sunny afternoon, and the air smelled of roasted corn from a nearby vendor. Adur had been humming a tune when she ran into her old buddy Duma one day, while she was strolling down the street to get some snacks. When she heard someone say, "Adur, is that you?" From across the street, she turned and saw Yue waving at her. "My goodness, it's been ages," she exclaimed, running over to embrace her friend. The two women stood there talking for a while, their laughter resonating down the busy street. They had been childhood friends but had lost touch after Uma moved to another city. Now, after all these years, they were finally seeing each other again. Couldn't stop grinning. "I have so much to tell you," Uma said, her face beaming with happiness. "You know what? I'm getting married next month," she added, covering her lips. "What? You're serious?" "Thank you," she replied. "I want you to be a part of my AS train," Yue stated with a smile. Ad invitation for the wedding was given a few days later, and when Adaru received it, she held it up and said, "Yes, I will be there, of course. I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world." Admired the delicate, shimmering fabric, which had a deep yellow lace that glistened when the sun struck it perfectly. "It's really lovely," Adur muttered to herself that she was already picturing how beautiful she would look when it dawned on her that this was the ideal time to wear my CET dress. Her heart skipped a beat when she realized that her savings were finally complete. I do remember telling her that she had received the number months prior, so she scheduled an appointment and visited the store the very next day with her ASB content. "Don't worry," the teller comforted her, "you will look like a queen in this dress." The middle-aged tailor, who had a keen eye for detail, measured the dress from every aspect and noted the numbers. Her cheeks were flushed. After leaving the store with the impression that she was already the wedding star, the tour contacted a few days later to let her know the dress was ready for its first fitting. When Otter finally made it to the store and saw the dress, she was dumbfounded, since it was everything she had ever imagined. Additional. After making a few small adjustments, the dress was ready and Otter couldn't wait to wear it to the wedding. She spent the next few days shopping for matching accessories, like gold earrings, a shiny cloth, and sky-high heels. She even scheduled an appointment at the salon for the morning of the wedding. The C said tightened her waist, and the L detailing shimmered with elegance. Audra put the dress on as she turned to face the mirror, and couldn't stop staring. "It's perfect," she whispered, running her hands over the fabric. Reached. When she arrived at the wedding venue head store, everyone couldn't help but stare. People whispered to each other, "Where is she? Her dress is so beautiful," and people came to compliment her. Adur woke up early, her excitement bubbling over like a pot of soup. She got her hair styled into soft coils and painted her lips with bold red lipstick. By the time she slid into her dress and added her accessories, she looked like she had stepped out of a fashion magazine. the AIT train's queen. Before the wedding reception officially started, the caterer began setting up food and drinks in the corner of the hall. The trays of fried rice, jollof fries, grilled chicken, and steaming plates of pounded yam with vegetable soup, as well as platters of small chops, tried to concentrate on the wedding program, but her gaze kept wandering to the food. At last, she couldn't help herself. It's a wedding, she reasoned, so the food is meant to be eaten. She picked up the plate and went straight for the chicken and fried rice, the spices tickling her nose as she tasted them. After finishing that, she went on to the little stores. She finished all of the samosas, puff puffs, and spring rolls. Next came the PED yam and soup, and then a piece of cake. Other visitors started to see how much a consigned older woman approached Otter as she was eating, especially because of the tight CET dress she was wearing, and said, "My dear, you should slow down, that dress you are wearing is very tight. Don't overeat." Ador laughed and waved her away, saying, "Oh, Mama, don't worry. This is a wedding and the food is delicious. Let me enjoy myself." Following a thorough cleaning with a cold soda, Ador grinned to herself as she leaned back in her chair, feeling content and full, and realized that today couldn't get any better, any faster. It was time. With her AIT train accompanying her, the bride and groom made their grand entrance into the reception hall. The music was loud and the crowd was sharing as the Ashi ladies lined up to dance with the couple. As Otter was finishing her drink, she noticed her fellow Asab train members entering the hall. Her eyes widened, and she quickly put down her glass to join them. As the music continued, she danced passionately, twetting her hips and clapping to the audience, shared louder and loved the energy she brought to the procession. But as she danced, she started to feel a strange discomfort in her stomach. At first, she thought it was just the tight CET pressing on her full belly. But then she started feeling dizzy, and the room spawned for a moment. However, Otter ignored it, determined to keep dancing, but suddenly the pain in her stomach got worse, and she stopped in the middle of a step, crushing her side. Before anyone could ask what was wrong, Otter doubled over and started vomiting, leaving gaps in the hall. The happy atmosphere of the wedding turned to turmoil as others raced to her, and she slumped to the ground unconscious moments later. I suppose we were shouting and rushing around attempting to aid the bride and groom, who remained still, their smiles replaced by worry, and someone called for an ambulance. Everyone was startled to learn that the seats had been too tight, limiting her ability to move food, when someone yelled that Otter was being taken to the hospital with her CET clothing still clinging securely to her body. Through her intestines, which, along with the amount of food she had consumed, led to her vomiting and losing. She needed emergency surgery since her intestines had burst from the train while she was still conscious. When Otter's parents arrived at the hospital and learned the news, they were horrified. The doctor added, "We have to act quickly to save her life." Oba sobbed violently and blamed herself for Ador's upbringing, saying that if we had listened to our neighbors when she was younger, we wouldn't have spoiled her so much. How this wife clings to him, his face white with terror. "We can't lose her," he said while the physicians toiled day and night to save Otter. Living after hours of surgery, they were able to stabilize her condition. It took a month for Otter to fully recover, but during that time, she had plenty of time to think back on her decisions. When she eventually left the hospital, she was a different person. The doctor had advised her to avoid tight clothing and to eat in moderation, but she didn't need any more cautions because she had already learned these things. After learning the hard way, Otter started eating healthily and abstaining from overindulging. She also never forgot her unpleasant experience with the expensive clothing or the risks associated with glutathione. This is where the narrative ends, Tony. If you like it and watch it through to the conclusion, please don't make this your final visit to my channel. Subscribe, leave a comment, and share my videos with your loved ones. I'll see you all at my next one.